years ago, June of 2023. And she said, Terry, you really need to try these patches. All right, I have zero regrets there. I'm so thankful. But you make sure none of your people do what I did. I just told her, I'm too busy to think about business, da-da-da-da. And 6 months went by. You do not want that to happen. And so it's been a blessing. Steve and Gina, thank you. Let's give them a round of applause, okay? The idea that we're on this fastest growing team and that we're all going to help bring in 1 million families, what a phenomenal opportunity. And so rally up your teams, pour into them, and one thing I'm taking away is I'm going to do a better job than I ever have. Sorry, my mind it's shifted because I'm thinking about how I don't have network marketing experience. I'm amazed when I hear these different companies in the past. I'm like, how come nobody ever reached out to me? Because I know people all over America, but it's like, how come nobody ever asked me to get involved? It's like you start naming these companies, I'm like, it's a Fruit Loop what? It's a skincare what? So I just wish I'd known about this industry years and years ago. So one thing I know, we're going to talk about Punta Mita. Who wants to go? All right, and all the folks who are there on virtual, type in there, expect to see me in Punta Mita, if indeed that's you, and we'd love to see you up on the screen for a second. All right, who are these people? There we go, we've got them. All right, and we do want to see you at Punta Mita, and let's take it to the top and help everybody get qualified. I meant to bring it out here, but make sure you print out the Punta Mita tracker. Make that your best friend. It is not too late. It's not too late. And I mean, I've learned so much here today, Steve and Gina, so I'm grateful for this opportunity. So the easiest points, so I think I'm supposed to advance that, aren't I? The easiest points, commit to qualifying, all right? And I hope this event is going to help you make that decision if you've been on the fence. The trips are awesome. My husband and I made the Greek Isles cruise. We were there at the Punta Cana. Now we're shooting for Punta Mita, and so much going forward. These other things, I want to get to my Terry's tips. Andy, Mandy, you all did a great job going over the manager math. Manager math. I'm going to go back and look at how you taught that. But we know what you need to do. Enroll new personal managers. I did it again. It's something about flying on an airplane. I pull out my cell phone, sitting beside my husband. I'm like, pull your phone out. And we go over it again. We did it coming back from Punta Cana. And all I'm doing is kicking myself in the butt that I didn't make all those calls that I meant to call, right? So that's one thing that we're going to be doing a much better job on. But it's something that put me up in an airplane, and I'm going to walk off that airplane with about another 150 leads in my phone that I never called. So let's see. So I want to be encouraging on that. Go manager, create managers, which you've been taught today, and it's rinse and repeat, and keep doing it. And it's true that the life of this business, it's in the new. Now, I want to get to a few tips. Scott Brannon, thank you. When you and Gina were interviewing Renita and Scott said this, it was like liquid gold. Take a picture of that. Steve, Scott was telling the story about being somewhere on one of the trips talking to a businessman, very successful looking businessman, and the businessman said, well, Scott, what do you do? And he said, oh, we activate people's stem cells through their own body's light, but even more than that, we're building teams and creating wealth all around the world. I'm like, pause that button, and I rewound it, and I played it again, Scott, and, modify it. But learn something like that. That was like 30 seconds. You got to get this down. Now, we just tested it. So Kenny and I are coming out of the Durango hotel, and we get in the elevator, and a business guy who runs all the fancy lighting and things like this, he was doing it owns his business over at Durango, and he tells us that. And he says, well, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm going to test this thing. And I said it just like up there on the screen. And he said, this is absolutely fascinating. Do you have a business card? And let's stay in touch. I said, oh, I don't have my business card, but can you give me yours? Wink, 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 wink. Okay, so we got his name and number, and he wants us to call him. It's that easy. The first person I enrolled is a very dear friend of mine, and who has experience in network marketing. Did not have any teams or anything. It had been years. And this thing has changed her life around. So when I say here, outreach with confidence, I didn't know anything about network marketing, but I chased this woman down. The second person happened to be my microscopist. The third person was a chiropractor friend of mine, and he and I were always talking different ideas. And I believed in the patches. They had worked for me, and I just reached out with confidence. But then the fourth person is a pretty big business guy, well known. I was so nervous. I thought, if this guy asks me to explain the business plan, the comp plan, how it works, I'm not going to be able to do it. And so I remember calling, and I was more, it says mindset, don't be attached to the outcome. Back then, I think I was just so afraid he'd say no, and I didn't know how to overcome the no's if he said no. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is, and I said, oh, yeah, and I was worried he would ask about network marketing. That's how inexperienced I was. And he said, Terry, stop. Is this network marketing? And I'm like, daggone it, he asked me that question. And I said, yes, it's network marketing. And I was getting ready to say, but to go into defense mode. And he said, great, I love network marketing. That's the best way to launch a product for a paradigm shift. And I wiped the sweat off my brow, and I'm like, yeah, it's good. Oh, I hope he doesn't ask me about the comp plan, because the only thing I know to say is it's a binary, Steve. So, and we talked a little bit more, and he said, stop. Tell me about this compensation plan, Terry. Is it a binary, a tertiary, a dubiary, and all? And I'm like, oh, no, I'm sunk. I said, it's a binary. And he's like, great, I love binaries. And I'm like, oh, boy, I hope he doesn't ask me anymore. And he moved on to something else, and I'm like, whoo, wipe the sweat off my brow on that one. All right, it's fun. And you learn, you get stretched, right? We're all learning. Just because the SPD elites are up here, right? We're all learning too. I know everybody here today, did we not? Have we learned something? Are we motivated in different ways or whatever? Okay, stay plugged in. Make sure your team stays plugged in. I didn't understand this. The first person I enrolled, she said, Terry, you need to go to the This Is It team convention in August in Tampa. And I said, why do I need to go to a convention? I already like the patches and I love the business model. Why would I need to spend money to go to a convention? She's like, Terry, you just need to go to find out. And best advice I've ever gotten, Steve. All right, here we go. Make a list. Use that memory jogger they have on the downloads on This Is It team. Use the system. You've heard that 100 times today. Print that pro strategy page. Use the tools. You heard me talk about it at the 6-hour training after Global, which is learn that YouTube channel. It's like your best friend. It's so well organized, and you have little short videos on there that add credibility and all that. Just use these tools. But if you don't know those tools are there, you're operating, on one leg. All right. So relearn to dream big. Carrie, my gosh, wherever you are, it's made me relearn to dream big. If you didn't see Carrie Robertson's training a few weeks ago, you need to make sure you've seen it and your team. Carrie Robertson's training, and it made me rethink my dream, and it wasn't so much like physical things, it's really literally for humanitarian efforts. My goal is to be able to write $100,000 checks to organizations that are taking care of these sex-trafficked children. We've got over 300,000 of them in America.
You have to come here because I need to stop. I'm recording all this stuff.
About the ideas
I
that
have to
have
stop
in my
it and
mind,
name it, so come in here.
as well as 2 other areas. but to be able to reflect the love of Jesus Christ through doing these different things. So it's not about the money. You got to be digging deep, and it's like find out the why. Terry, I want to make $10,000 a month. Okay, great. Why? Well, because I want a boat. And well, great. Why do you want that boat? And that guy may tell you, well, went through one divorce 15 years ago. My kids were little, and I had no time to spend with my children. And he said, I'm married again. We have some more little kids. But this time, I want time, and I want that boat paid off. That's a why. Dream big. See you in Punta Cana. Let's take it to the top. Not Punta Cana, Punta Mita. And let's make it real. Thank you all.
Ignite.